Hello students, this is Dr. Mercado. Welcome back to Accounting 1329, Payroll and Business Tax Accounting. We are continuing covering Chapter 3, which deals with Social Security taxes. And in this particular problem, we are going to be covering problem 39A. Okay, I just want to remind all students to please read your chapter and please be very careful in your rounding. I've been getting a lot of messages about, Miss, the system is counting the problem wrong, and it's all because you're rounding incorrectly, okay? So please make sure to be very, very careful when you are rounding your numbers, okay? So let me go ahead and let me jump over to problem 3.9. 3.9 reads as follows. Empty Fields Company pays its salaried employees monthly on the last day of each month. The annual salary payroll for the year follows. We have to compute the following for the payroll of December the 31st. So we are paying on the last pay period, okay? And we pay them once a month. We are provided with a list of employees, their annual salary, and we are being asked to calculate the OASDI taxable wages, the OASDI tax, the HI taxable wages, and the HI tax, okay? So, and then once we're done with that, we also have to calculate the employer's OASDI tax and the employer's HI tax. So what I've done is I've replicated the information over to my Excel. That way I can work on it easier, okay? Entering the data, okay? So I've got the annual salary. I went ahead and I added a column that says monthly pay. I don't know how much my employees are getting paid on a monthly basis, okay? So I want to know how much my employees are getting paid on a monthly basis because this is excuse me, this payroll deals with the employee's monthly pay. So in order for us to know how much we need to pay them, we need to calculate the monthly pay. And how do we calculate the monthly pay? We basically just get the annual salary and we're going to divide by 12. Okay, so I use Excel a lot because it just makes it so quicker for me to solve the problem. That way I don't use my calculator and it prevents me from making mistakes. Okay, so in the formula, I hope all of you are a little bit familiar with Excel, but if you're not, I encourage you to take my course in computerized accounting applications, which just deals with Excel. Okay, I am not going to cover how to use Excel in my class. If you're familiar with it, you can follow along the formulas. If you're not, then you can use your calculator. But I will show you both ways. That way, hopefully you can follow along. But I am not going to go so much into detail about using Excel because I do have a course that specifically teaches students how to use Excel dealing with business related scenarios and transactions. So if you're interested in that, please make sure that you register. And that particular course is Computerized Accounting Applications, Accounting 1313. Okay, so if you want to learn how to use Excel, hopefully in your upcoming semester, you want to register for that course. Once again, it's Accounting 1313, Computerized Accounting Applications. And all we deal in that class with is Excel. Okay, so going back to the problem is what are we going to do? We have to calculate the monthly pay. So what are we going to do? We're going to get the annual salary. You select the cell of the annual salary, and then you're going to divide by 12 months. Okay, and that will give you the amount. Okay, and you simply get this little corner. It's like a little green box, and you scroll it down. Okay, and that will give you the amount of your monthly pay. Okay, and then I'm going to get my sum. I want to get the total of all of this column. And let me see what went wrong. Sum, and I want to add all of this column. Okay, and here we have it. Okay, so let me just double check my figures to see everything's correct. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I am going to redo this calculation because I forgot about one scenario, which is my rounding. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my round. The issue we have with Excel is that it automatically keeps the numbers. Like for example, if it's 1,253.66667, so it doesn't round, and we want these calculations to be rounded to 2 decimal places. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do equals round. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open my parentheses, okay, and my formula is going to be my annual salary divided by 12. And I want to round to 2 digits. Okay, so what I did is equals round. That opens my my formula bar up here. If you click on the formula bar, it opens this little window up with your function arguments. In there, I'm telling the system, okay, get the annual salary, which is P4, the 37,040, and divide that number by 12. Okay. Once you divide that number by 12, round it to 2 digits. Okay. So if you see here, my number was 3,086.6666667. Okay, that's the number that it would have shown on my solution. And I'm telling the system, you know what? Round it to 2. That's going to give me 3086.67. Okay, so you see how the system is going to round for you. Be very careful. If you're using Excel, always use the round feature. Okay. So once you have created the formula and look up at the formula bar, it reads equals round, open parentheses, P4. P4 is your 37,040 divided by 12 months, comma 2. That tells you that it's rounding to 2 decimal places. Okay. And then I'm just going to copy that formula down, and there we have it. Okay. This is the total. I just summed all of the information in my column. Okay. So that's a very easy way to do it. Or if you're a little bit more old school, you can just do it in your calculator. 3740 divided by 12 months. It gives me 3,086.66667. Here you're going to have to do the rounding yourself. So you have to be very careful. Look at that third digit. If it's a 5 or greater, then that second digit needs to be rounded up by 1 to 3686.67. If that third digit is anything lower than a 5, then you keep that second digit as is. Okay. So this is my monthly pay. Now we need to be careful because we are calculating OASDI and HI tax. Remember that for my OASDI, we have a cap of $147,000. Once the employee reaches 147, anything above 147 will not be taxable. Okay? So we need to be very careful, and we need to identify, are any of my employees making over 147? And yes, they are. We have one employee that is making more than 147. So that employee is going to entail having a little bit more calculations, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my OASDI taxable wages, okay? All of my employees, excuse me, all of my employees with the exception of Sam Ruiz do not go over the cap, okay? So I know that I'm going to copy and paste all of this information into my OASDI taxable wages and my HI. Let me see. I'm going to copy and paste the values. Copy, and I'm going to right click, paste values. Okay. And I'm going to copy my values and paste them to my OASDI taxable wages and my HI taxable wages. And I'm pasting the values. Okay. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to delete only the one for my 12,500. Okay. So what did I do here? What I did here is, instead of me retyping the information over and over, I already know that all of these employees, except the one highlighted, Sam is the only one that has gone over my cap. So that means that everything that all of the rest of my employees are going to make this month is going to be taxable for OASDI and for HI. Okay. Only the employee that goes over the cap, that one we would need to calculate manually. Okay. So all I did is, you're copying the monthly pay over to your OASDI taxable wages and to your HI taxable wages. Okay. That's all I did. I copied the information over because everything is taxable. Now let's look at Sam. How much is taxable for Sam? Sam earns $150,000 a year. Okay. He gets paid monthly $12,500. Okay. So I know that the cap is $147,000. Sam is making $150,000. So that means that $3,000 are not going to be taxable. Remember, Sam is only going to pay taxes up to $147,000. Anything above $147,000 is not taxable. Okay, so we need to figure out that amount. Okay, so let's figure out how much did Sam make as of November. Okay, I know that Sam makes $12,500 a month times 11 months. That means that as of the end of November, Sam had earned $137,500. Okay, so I've got that's the total, that's the cumulative pay as of the end of November. Now for this month, I know that my cap is $147,000. Okay, that is provided to you in the book. That is your cap. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to subtract my year-to-date earnings, and the amount of my year-to-date earnings for this particular employee is $137,500. Okay, so I've got $147,000. 1, 2, 3 minus $137,500. That means that on my next paycheck, which is my December's paycheck, I still need to pay taxes on $9,500. Okay, that is my taxable earnings to reach my cap. So yes, in December I am making $12,500. Out of those $12,500, $9,500 are going to be taxable. So how much do we get paid? We get paid $12,500 a month for Sam Ruiz. Out of that amount, $9,500 are taxable. That is going to take Sam Ruiz up to the cap of $147,000. Okay, so that means that out of the $12,500, $9,500 are going to be taxable, and the difference of $3,000 is not going to be taxed. Okay, so Sam gets paid in December $12,500, and we have to split that into two: the taxable portion and the non-taxable portion. Remember, we only pay taxes up to $147,000 for OASDI purposes. So, for OASDI taxable wages, yes, Sam did earn $12,500, but he is going to reach the cap of $147,000, which means that in this paycheck, he's only going to pay taxes on $9,500. For OASDI purposes, that will put him to the cap of $147,000. Okay. Now for HI, is there a cap? No. Sam can make as much money as he wants, and there is no cap. So for HI purposes, the $12,500 are going to be subject to tax for Sam Ruiz. So you see the difference here? For OASDI, there's a cap. So out of the $12,500 that he makes, he's only going to pay taxes on $9,500. For HI, there is no cap, so that means that the entire amount earned is going to be taxable. Once we have that down, we can then run our calculations. And I don't like to duplicate my work or take too long doing these problems. I love using Excel, so I'd rather use Excel. It just makes it a lot easier for me. But if you want to use a calculator, I'll show you that in a bit. But now I'm going to set up my formulas. And I'm going to set up my formula on the first one. That way you see it. Remember, we always have to use the round function, okay? So I do equals round, and then I go to my formula bar, okay? Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and I deleted it. I'm going to, not sound, but round. So I'm going to round, and what am I going to round? I'm going to get my taxable wages, and I'm going to multiply it by my rate, okay? Then I'm going to go over here to my round feature. So what am I telling the system to do? I'm telling my system to get my taxable wages of $3,086.67 and multiply it times my rate of 6.2%. Okay. Now I'm going to copy this formula down. So what I want is for my rate to always stay anchored. I don't want my formula cell for my rate to change. So I'm going to anchor my rate information, which is S2. If you see here, it's 2S. I'm going to anchor it. And how do I anchor it? I put a $sign before the letter, and I put a $sign before the number. Okay? That will anchor it. So if I divide my, or I'm sorry, if I multiply my 3,086.67 times 6.2%, that's going to give me a number of 191.37354. I want that formula to be rounded to 2 decimal places, and that's going to give me an answer of 191.37. Okay? I'm going to do OK, and it's going to give me that amount. So if you look at my formula bar up here, my formula reads down over here on the top left hand corner, my formula reads equals round, open parentheses, R4. R4 is the cell that is your OASDI taxable wages, times my S2, which is the rate cell. Okay, that's going to be the one, comma 2. The comma 2 tells me I want to round to 2 decimal places, close parentheses. Okay, once I've got that down, I just get the little corner and I bring my formula down. Okay, voila. Okay, everything is calculated automatically. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for my HI tax, and I do this because I just want to save time. And it's just a lot more accurate because the computer is doing it for me. What do I want to do? I'm going to do equals round. I'm going to select my HI taxable wages amount, and I'm going to multiply it by my HI rate. Okay, I'm going to go to my formula bar. You see, in my formula bar, I'm telling it round my calculation, which is my HI taxable wages, times my rate. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to anchor my rate, which is cell U2. I anchor it by entering a dollar sign, I'm sorry. Okay, so only enter the dollar signs in front of the letter and the number of the cell that is the rate up here. Okay, and once I do that, I'm going to tell it, you know what, round it to 2 decimal places. So my actual formula, which is my 3,086.67, multiplied it by 1.45%, will yield me 44.756715. Okay, I'm telling the system to round it for me for 2 decimal places. That's going to round it for me to 44.76. Okay, once I've done it on the first cell and I've anchored my rate up here, I just grab the little corner right there and I bring it down. Okay, now what if I were using a calculator? Let's run the formula for Utley. Okay, so let's look at the OASDI. Okay, the employee gets paid $30.8667 times 6.2%. That would give me 191.37354. It's on you to know how to round. We have to look at that third digit. If it's a 5 or greater, we round that second digit up. If it's a 4 or less, then you keep that second digit as is. Okay, so then that would be 191.37. Okay, for HI, we're going to get the 30.8667 times 1.45%, and that will give me 44.756715. Remember that third digit, if it's a 5 or greater, we need to round that second digit up by 1, so then the answer would be 44.76. Okay, what I love about Excel is that it automatically rounds for you if you use the round function. If you use a calculator, it is your responsibility to be careful and learn how to round. Okay, so please make sure that you go back and you review the formula. Okay, the formula basically is equals round, open parentheses, select the cell where you have your OASDI taxable wages, multiply sign, and then select the rate cell. Okay, comma 2, close parentheses. Now your cell for your rate, whatever cells those might be, because I know maybe you have it set up a little bit different, you need to anchor the cell that has the rate, and you anchor it by putting a dollar sign in front of the letter and a dollar sign in front of the number. Once your formula looks kind of like what I have here, then you click enter. You go ahead and select the cell. There's a little green box that appears, and you scroll it down. Okay, once you're done, you get your totals for all of them. In this case, I had already run my calculation, the sum calculation. I just select the cell, get the little corner, and that is going to copy my formula, which consists of adding all of the information in my column. Okay, that's basically what it's doing. Okay, so let me double check my figures: 48, 114, 18, 29, 83, 07, 51, 114, 18, and 741, 16. Correct. Okay, so what are we doing once again? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select Mark. Okay, Mark gets paid 42, 66, 67. I'm going to multiply it by 6.2%, and that will give me 264.53354. That third digit is a 3, which means I keep my second digit as is at 264.53. Okay, now let's do for HI. Mark Harper gets 42, 66, 67 is taxable for HI. My HI rate is 1.45%. That gives me 61.866. That third digit is greater than a 5. That means I'm going to round that second digit up to 61.87. Okay? So, these are the amounts: the monthly pay, the taxable wages for that pay period, the tax that's going to be withheld from the employee's paychecks. So this is the amount that's going to be taken away for OASDI from each employee, and the amount that's going to be withheld from each employee for HI purposes. Okay. Now that we have that, we can calculate our employer's OASDI tax and our employer's HI tax. To calculate that, we need to pick up those total columns. Okay. Don't just copy and paste the information from the employee section. No. You need to do your calculations based on the total wages or the total taxable wages for OASDI and for HI. Okay, so for the employer's OASDI tax, I've got 48,114.18 times 6.2%. Okay, for my HI, I've got 51,114.18 times 1.45%. Okay. So let's get those calculators. 48, 114.18 times 6.2%. That will give me 2983.079. That third digit is a 9, so I'm going to round up that second digit to an 8. Okay, so it'll be 2983.08. Okay, 2983.08. And then for my HI, I'm going to get the total taxable wages, which is 51,114.18 times 1.45%. And that's going to give me 74.15561. That third digit is a 5, which means I'm going to round up to 74.16. Okay, so if you compare the total OASDI taxable OASDI tax for your employees, it's 2983.07. Okay. For the employer, it's 2983.08. There's a difference. Why? Because these are being calculated on the monthly pay, and the employer's OASDI tax is being calculated on the total taxable wages. So there will be some slight differences between the calculation for the employee and the employer. So you are going to have that maybe that 1-2 cent difference. So that's why don't just pick up these numbers. You need to do the actual calculation based on the totals. Okay. So for the HI, we picked up the total HI taxable wages of 51,114.18. We multiplied it by 1.45%, and that gave me 74.16, which is the same that's going to be for the employee's deductions. Okay, so on the employee deductions, you calculate it based on each employee. On the employer's OASDI tax, you do your calculations based on the grand total of all of your employees. Okay, so this problem is not difficult, it's just tedious. I would recommend you set up an Excel spreadsheet. It just makes it a lot easier, and it can help with the rounding situation. Okay, just make sure that if you are using Excel for your calculations, you use the round feature. You basically do equals, round, open parentheses, enter your formula in there, comma, 2, close parentheses. Okay, the formula, you can find it over here on the formula bar. If you are multiplying by a cell that you want it to be always multiplied by that cell, you need to anchor that cell. In this case, the two cells that are being anchored is my 6.2% and my 1.45%. So to anchor it, you select you locate the cell that you want to anchor, and you put a dollar sign before the letter and a dollar sign before the number. That will anchor that cell. So what the system will do, it would automatically go down to the next number in the calculation, but always refer to that cell, that 6.2%. Okay? So that is basically it. If you, like I said, if you prefer to use a calculator, please do so. Just make sure to be very careful on your rounding. For example, for norm worth, okay? So we've got 4075 times 6.2%. That will give me 252.65, so there was no rounding there. Let's do John Bass, 3,333.33 times 6.2%. That'll give me 206.666. So that way we need to know that we need to round that third digit. Is greater than a 5, so that second digit needs to go up by 1. So it'll be 206.67. Okay? So this is just very basic mathematics. You're just getting the OASDI taxable wages column, multiplying it by the rate to get the OASDI tax. You get the HI taxable wages column times the rate of HI of 1.45%, and that will give you your HI tax. Okay, just be very careful. Identify if any of your employees are going to go over the 147,000 threshold for OASDI, and if they do, you need to do that calculation separately like we did down here. We need to figure out, okay, out of the monthly pay of 12,500, how much of it is taxable, how much of it is not taxable. So we figured that 9,500 was taxable, 3,000, that's the excess of the 147, which is my cap, would not be taxed. Okay, so that is it for this lecture. I hope all of you are pacing yourself, working on your assignments throughout the week. That way you don't feel overwhelmed on the weekend. If you have questions or concerns, please feel free to contact me during my scheduled office hours. That is it for now. Until next time, have a wonderful day.